작업하자고. Zostało jeszcze 8 minut break. Słuchaj, coś? Nie wiem, czy jest dźwięk. Ja, jest chyba dźwięk. Czekaj, włączymy radę.
The wheat markets in North Africa and the Middle East, how it's prompting Silicon Valley to take a political stand, and how it's placed China on a political and diplomatic tightrope.
For China to offer itself as a mediator, I think it is also an important message that China does not want to be wholly responsible for the Russian invasion. So they're trying to play a constructive role and to show the world that China is in fact a constructive force in this conflict.
Well, I'm joined by two guests on either sides of the globe. In Hong Kong, we have Shuli Ran, who is Bloomberg opinion columnist. Shuli, welcome to the program. Good morning to you.
Good morning and good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
That's a universal global.
I'm not sure what time zone you're in.
It's a universal global greeting. Thank you very much. In Washington, good evening to you, Kimberly Adams of Marketplace, our sister program, of course, in the United States. Kimberly, hello, welcome to the program.
Hello, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon also.
Great. Thank you very much indeed. Now we're going to start, of course, in Ukraine. The president, Volodymyr Zelensky, has said that Russia must stop bombing Ukrainian cities before meaningful talks on a ceasefire can start, as a first round of negotiations this week had yielded virtually no progress. Speaking in an interview in a heavily guarded government compound, Zelensky urged NATO members to impose a no-fly zone to stop the Russian Air Force, saying this would be a preventative measure and not meant to drag the alliance into war with Russia.
As far as the no-fly zone is concerned, it would have helped a lot. This is not about dragging NATO countries into war. The truth is everyone has long since been dragged into war, and definitely not by Ukraine, but by Russia. A large-scale war is going on, and everybody thinks it would be over quickly. I talked to President Biden many times. I am very grateful to him for the opportunities and the support, but they didn't hear me. I told them that Ukraine will fight more than anyone else, but we, just by ourselves, left alone against Russia, we simply cannot manage.
That's the Ukrainian president. We'll be talking about President Biden's response. He'll be talking himself in about an hour's time, the State of the Union address, and about how he is likely to talk about the Ukrainian crisis then. But in the meantime, more news out of Ukraine. 5 people have died after Russia attacked a TV tower in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, hitting nearby broadcast facilities. And it comes after Russia warned residents that it was preparing to hit targets in the city and said it was planning attacks on Kyiv technology centers, urging people to stay away from them. The chairman of the public broadcasting company of Ukraine, Mykola Chernotitsky, spoke to the BBC.
Russian troops sent 2 rockets, and the main aim was TV tower. 5 people were on the street near the tower were killed. I think the target was TV tower only, not something else. And I think the Russian starts to make problem and destroy all about TV, radio, and etc. Because after that, now we have some problem with the satellite signal for main channel of public broadcaster UA First. Before attack, we have 24 TV channel. After attack and launch reserve, we have only 8 TV channel. I'm not sure if it's possible come back on all 24 channel.
That's the chairman of the public broadcasting company of Ukraine. And I talked to the Ukrainian journalist Igor Kosev, who is in Kyiv at the moment, and I asked him about conditions in the city.
There was a missile attack on TV tower. The tower is still standing, but TV networks went out for a little while until they were reestablished. 5 people died, and that's just one of the attacks. We've been getting consistent attacks. I've heard several explosions that sounded like cluster. I can't confirm that, but they did sound like cluster explosions do sound. We've gotten reports of that giant column outside the city. I've also heard reports that a lot of those vehicles are just support or auxiliary or troop carriers, and it's not one unbroken 65-kilometer line. Everyone's really on edge. Everyone's really, really nervous, but still determined to fight until the end.
What about food and water and lighting?
Yes, lighting works, heat works, internet works, everything works. Select supermarkets are open, and there haven't been bread in the past couple of days, but today there was some bread and people are standing in line for it. Other goods are on the shelves at a much more limited, I would say about half to 2/3 of the normal inventory of the store was there. I think the one next to my house. Most pharmacies are shuttered, so the ones that are open have big lines outside them. The lines are orderly and move relatively quickly.
Are people on the streets at all, or are people staying underground or back in their apartment?
All of the above. There were people on the streets, but a lot of them have left the city. There are some soldiers and territorial defense on the streets as well. There are air raids. Sirens come every hour, every 2 hours. I know many people are spending the night in the subway tonight. I'm staying in my building. There's a curfew from 8 to 7. People are still in Kiev and are determined to stay here. There's a bomb shelter relatively nearby, and I can pop in there.
Are you seeing any sign of the Russians in terms of planes, or helicopters, or even troops?
I have not seen any troops, helicopters, or planes. I have heard the evidence of their presence by the constant missiles and rockets that they're firing at us. They have Grad launchers, which are multiple rocket launcher systems, and they might have cluster munitions, according to a different report I heard. So it might turn out bad.
That was the Ukrainian journalist Igor Kosov in Kyiv. Now, close to the Russian border lies Kharkiv, that is Ukraine's second largest city, an important industrial center. It was known as the Silicon Valley.
Czy coś będzie, wiesz, trzeba będzie po trasę.
To make those colour swatches come to life.
Turbocharge your trade-in at Currys. Come in store to trade in your old battery and get a flat of £40 off your new one. With this sharp
Przełożę to. Brzydka pogoda, dzisiaj pada deszcz, ciemno jest, nic nie widać takiego.
Introducing Cheese, the digital bank that makes everyday rewarding.
That sounds nice. Will I be speaking to a robot like your customer service?
Nope, just a few taps of the Cheese banking app and you're through to a real person.
Oh,
Sorry, Cheese, make more of every day.